So today we got some news from Frontier regarding the release of the Cobra Mark V, as well as the new colonization update coming. So in the background, we'll play some captures that Frontier released today of the new Cobra Mark V in-game. Frontier did make a correction today that it's not a medium class ship, it's actually a small class ship for a small landing pad. They also released the ship specs today, so hard points wise as 3 class 2s, 2 class 1s, utilities as 4 utility slots. For its optionals, it's 1 class 5, 3 class 4, 3 class 3s, 1 class 2, and 2 class 1s. Cores, this is armor, class 4 power, class 4 thrusters, class 4 frameshift drive, class 3 life support, class 4 power distributor, and a class 4 fuel tank. Well, the way that Frontier kind of described the ship, it sounds like it's going to be a jack of all but master of none style ship. So it sounds like it's going to be a true small entry level ship for newer players that you'll be able to do a little bit of every activity with, while still enjoying the benefits of the newer technology and newer ships. A ship that handles the SCO very well. Its announced release date is for December 10th. It'll be just under 2 weeks from today. They also released some images of the available ship kits and paint jobs that will be available on launch, and I'll let that kind of play in the background here. They also mentioned adding additional Black Friday paint jobs to the store for the Python Mark II, the Type 8, as well as the Mandalay. They also mentioned bringing back the gold and chrome paint jobs back for several ships this year. And they also briefly showed a new ship kit available for the Type 8. They briefly introduced some of the mechanics and concepts of how colonization is going to work. It started off by saying there's going to be a new contact in populated systems, and you're going to use this contact to be able to purchase a claim to an unpopulated system. And in the background here, you can see an example of what their proposed UI might look like. And they're saying to start with that the range which you'll be able to claim an unpopulated system will start off with a 10 light year range. They say they may extend that or change the distance based on player feedback once they release the beta. So you could purchase a claim from a contact to a system that was within range of this green bubble in the galaxy map. And that purchase would be served as a first-come, first-served basis. And you'd use credits for the purchase. And once you've made the purchase, you would have the 24-hour limit to where you would have to deliver a colonization beacon. And if you didn't deliver your beacon within 24 hours, you'd lose your claim to that system. And they said this was just to prevent players from spamming claims and blocking other players from being able to do claims themselves. And here in the background, you can see an example that they provided of what a colonization beacon might look like. And then they said after successfully placing a colonization beacon, your next step would be to choose what kind of start port your first start port system would be. And then after selecting that, the next thing that would happen is that your colonization ship would arrive in system. And the purpose of this colonization ship would be to receive all of the goods and materials required to build your station. So I imagine it might function something similar to the station repair mechanics that are already in game, the repair stations that have been destroyed by Thargoids. It's depending on the initial start port that you chose, it's going to dictate how much of those materials and resources you're going to need. And then there would again be a time limit for how long, the maximum amount of time they'd give you to successfully have all of those components delivered. And if you didn't deliver all of your components and resources in time, then your system would revert back to an unclaimed system. And again, they just said this was to prevent people from just spamming claims and not successfully developing those systems and blocking other players from having that opportunity to expand. And then they said once you're successful in delivering all of the materials and components you require, that your station would be constructed and placed in the system. But it would be kind of like in a non-operational state until the end of that weekly server tick. And then at the beginning of the following tick, it would spawn in as a fully functional station with all of its services available. And then they showed some examples of additional orbital assets that can be placed in the system that you might have be able to choose to fully develop that system even further in space. And in order to build like the largest starports in the system, you'd have to work your way up to that. Build smaller storage stations first, build some industry, build some resources within the system, and then you'll be able to start building the larger assets like the large starports in the system. They also mentioned that when it comes to development of space, that each system will already have kind of like predetermined areas into which certain types of stations will be able to fit. And in contrast to that, when it comes to actually developing on the planet sides, you're going to have absolute control as to the exact locations to which you place your planetary stations and what kind of stations they'll be. Then here you can see an example of them showing kind of like a mechanic of how you'll be able to place the station. You're also going to be able to choose the exact orientation of how the station is going to sit on the planet's surface. So if you have some really interesting kind of like geological areas that you like to place a station on, you can. Then once the station is placed, you're going to have like a on construction type layout out, like you can see here in the background right now. They said when the planetary settlements, if you never get the resources there to complete it, that it will stay in like this construction state permanently. They also did mention that you're not required to deliver all of the materials exclusively on your own. Other commanders or pilots can help deliver items to a station to complete it. Also, they did say that whatever faction you bought your claim from will be the first faction to populate the new system. So you can bring your BGS, whatever faction you choose, to a new system as long as you bought your claim permit from that faction, from whatever system that they control. Some of my thoughts on this proposed update. I think this update has the potential to bring a lot of gameplay into the game, especially in regards to like player-to-player economy. Currently, right now, the only real resources that players have to consume is tritium if they own a carrier, and that kind of limits the player-to-player economy. If colonizing these systems is going to require a large number of resources, especially resources that cannot be easily purchased from NPC stations, this will create a lot of opportunity for player economy and trading, which is something that, in my opinion, really desperately needs. And of course, that in itself will in turn spin off other types of gameplay, like maybe player pirates who are generally trying to pirate, not just gank players, to be able to steal their resources and commodities for what they're trying to deliver. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and hit the subscribe button.